Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Aspiring Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Hamza Chowdhury. And today I'd like to spend some time with you and talk to you about how to trade the Apple stock. As most people, everybody loves Apple. They either have an iPhone, an iPad. They're a part of the Apple service. And I thought it would be a good idea with all the momentum that we've seen recently in the markets that we take a look at it and see if it's something that we should buy, we should hold, or we should sell. So as you can see here on my screen, I have our daily chart for Apple. And as you can see, it sort of had this massive run up, and we talked about in the previous videos about the Bollinger Band and how it sort of tells us when it's upright and it's on the upper band that this is a bullish momentum breakout play. And this was around the time right where we had the earnings play and we announced the split, and you can actually see how the stock was actually trading under $100 back in July. So it was only about 6 weeks ago from the recording of this video, which is the third week of September, that we were actually trading below $100. So the stock had this massive run up, and it hit the day of when the split occurred. It actually hit up a high of almost $138. And so you can imagine that if you're bullish on a stock and you're trading, eventually it's going to have to come down. And now that the split had occurred, got a bunch of people in. It was overvalued, and there's a rotation in stock. So a lot of people start getting out of this. They've obviously pushed it quite far. It's up tremendously. And so what you start to see is it start to pull back. Now, unlike Tesla, which we talked about in the previous video, Apple's been sort of a slower grind. So it's not something that traded at 138 and then the next day it was at 115 and the next day it was at 100. As you can see, it sort of slowly is grinding its way back down to where it had some consolidation here in the 112, 117 range, which is why we had a few of these days. And then it wants to pull back. Now, most people would say, well, hey, I'm long Apple. I want this thing to keep going up, and yeah, that's great. But, stocks are going to move in both directions. And a lot of the people who are stuck eventually are going to get flushed out. And since the move wasn't as big as Tesla and it was slow and grindy, it's just taking a while to get fresh money into the stock. So now you can see that the last few days, we actually ended up on this lower band. And you can see there's actually the Bollinger Band is actually facing downward, indicating a downward direction. You can also see we have the 50 support. So originally when this stock was consolidating, coming down, I saw a lot of sort of support and consolidation in the 108, 110 range. And we have this 110 bounce. If you notice, a stock tends to bounce really well off the 110. And it flushed yesterday and it hit a low of 103. And it came up and had a great day yesterday. And then today, what I like to do is sort of go over what happened today. If you look at the pre-market, the problem with trading pre-market is the amount of risk that is in play. So today there was a price raise from, who gave the price raise? It was one of the analysts, and one of the things that the stock started to do was rise. So if you're a long, hey, this is great, but if you're taking a short position, there were several opportunities where you probably got squeezed out. And the reason why it's risky to short pre-market is for that very reason, right? Is that you may be in a situation where you get in and it looks like my thinkorswim's acting up here a little bit. And it looks like you're trying to get a short position and then you get squeezed out. So before the market even opened, the stock was trading close to right around $112. And then all of a sudden it came flat. Okay. And so it had good consolidation yesterday, and then all of a sudden, we had this pattern develop early in the morning. It popped and it dropped, and it came right below VWAP right here, which is when I thought the stock was going to flush down to back to the 110s. And then all of a sudden, the analyst came out with the price raise, and you can see, look what happened, right? So we have this upwards momentum in the 112s. It looks like my chart wants to act up today, which is great, of course, when I'm recording a video. And so we had this upwards momentum, and then what happens the moment that the market opens, it just flushes, right? So it hits, over 112, gets all the shorts out, pushes them out, and then it flushes downwards. And so I actually had a short position. I actually did get squeezed out. It did end up coming down, and again, consolidating in this 110 range. And then you can see it tried to break over the VWAP, which again we talked about as the volume weighted average price. And as it tried to break, it failed, tried again and again and again, and it consolidated again, and then it couldn't break it. So what does it do? It's going to flush down further. So the 110 seems to be a very strong price sort of level for Apple. If you're someone who's sort of adding to your position, it's definitely an area of interest where if it can hold above 110, you can add with this idea that we're going to get back up and continue on with, again, the new money and the people sort of flushing out. If you are someone who is taking sort of a day trade position, then what you'll find is that there is some potential for us to, sort of pop up here and then potentially come back down here and have more of a consolidation around the 100 range, which is down here on the daily chart. So we have a lot of trading happen in the $100 range. Again, tech has been really extended, but if you're someone who's day trading, like I said, you can day trade this all the way pretty much down to 100. If you're someone who's taking a long, you can add to your position as we move down, but that's if we hit 100. We hit 103. We did a great strong bounce yesterday, and now we're trading sort of in this consolidation range. You can also see this sort of a channel forming downward, so we're sort of trading in this channel that's coming down. So overall it's been a solid stock, and it has great patterns and behaviors. So you can see as things fail, you can predict that they're going to kind of come down, and then you can also use the RSI means, which is when the RSI indicator is telling you that the stock is oversold, you'll see that there's going to be a nice bounce. Okay. And then, this pivot point right here, which is the 110, you can see we slowly were consolidating back up, and we kept trying, but we failed. We tried, and then here we go. We finally got to that pivot point of 110.67, and then we failed, and now we're selling off again. So overall, guys, Apple's a great stock. It has a lot of exciting things. The reason for a lot of the sell-off too has to do with the fact that we don't know when the iPhone's coming out, and if you look at the profile for the company, the iPhone is over 50% of its revenues, right? So if you have a major revenue source and you're not clear when that's going to actually come out, then it's really important that the news comes out. And I believe I read somewhere in CNET that they're assuming they're projecting it's going to come out sometime in mid-October. So if that's the case, stay tuned. Buy a share here and there. If you're buying it up, try to around this range, you should be okay. And like I said, if it hits 100, that's going to be a solid floor for the stock. But in any case, guys, good luck trading. Let me know if you have any questions or comments below, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.